Jesus was a carpenter. He built things with his hands. He created. Outside of creating the world, the beautiful world that we know today, he was a carpenter who used his hands to create magical and magnificent things. He didn't sit around just consuming things and waiting for things to be handed to him. He actually used the skills that God blessed him with and used his hands to create. And, I've just been thinking about that lately. We live in a society that is so consumeristic, where we're constantly consuming all the things around us. Social media, we scroll our feeds, the quick 2-3 seconds, and we're scrolling nonstop. And before you know it, we're on social media for 2 and 3 hours and not being productive and not being efficient. And we consume in other areas as well, the way we watch TV, just so many different ways we consume. But I was just really sitting here thinking, right? A lot of people who feel like they're not in purpose, a lot of people who struggle with finding their purpose in life are usually people who are consuming more than they are producing. And I find that purpose comes from actually you being the one hands-on and you producing and creating and using your gifts and doing the things that bring you joy, that gives you fulfillment, the things that give you just motivation and a joy to live, like a will to live. That comes from you doing the things that you love. And a lot of people are afraid to do the things they love because for a lot of different reasons. But the point, what I'm trying to say is that if Jesus was a carpenter and he built things with his hands and he wasn't always consuming, and we're supposed to follow the blueprint, like if he is our God, that means that we're made in his image. And I think that he calls us to produce as well. And I'm currently on my journey right now where I've taken a social media fast. I do this about once a year at the beginning of the year, but I haven't been on social media on my personal pages in about 2 weeks. Well, since the last year. And every single day I wake up more rejuvenated, more refreshed. And I'm like, Lord, do I ever want to go back to social media? And I find that when I was on social media, it just really affected my mental health. There was just so much that you see all the time. And we think we have control over the things that we see, but we don't. When you're in social media, you are, whatever comes across your feed, pretty much is you consume it, like you experience it, even if it's not intentional. And so I knew that I needed to take a break from that. But more importantly, I knew that I wanted to get back to creating and to producing, because for me, that's what brings me the most joy, just being creative and acting on the thoughts and the visions that God gives me. And so even creating this video right now. So that's why I've started to focus more on my YouTube channel. I was like, you know what, even if nobody don't watch my videos, this is me putting my thoughts out there, my opinions out there, my perspectives out there. I'm able to document it and post. And so that's the essence of producing and creating. You're creating a piece of content and you're putting it out there for the world to see. And so instead of always being on the receiving end of watching, now you have something out there that other people can glean from and learn from your wisdom and experiences and things like that. And so I think that's why, it's so important for us to really get in tune to what brings us the most joy and tap into that, and to really tap into that, because God really wants us to create. So ask yourself, I want to ask you, what is stopping you from producing? What is stopping you from recording a video and hitting publish? What is stopping you from writing the first pages on your book? What is stopping you from picking up the mic and recording your first episode of your podcast, or going to your first acting session? What is stopping you from doing the things that you really feel deep down in the bottom pit of your stomach that's going to bring you the most joy? What is stopping you from that? And then more importantly, not what's stopping you from that, why won't you just start? It doesn't matter what type of fear you have and the things that, may be coming up and telling you that you're not qualified or you're not perfect, whatever the thoughts may be in your head telling you, or society has tried to told you. Let's just forget it, because it don't even matter. At this point, the ball is in your court. And so why not just start? Why not just put out the first piece of content? Who's gonna judge it besides yourself? I find that many of the times we are our biggest critic. We are our biggest judge before anybody else. And so if you give yourself permission to just let your guards down, to do what it is that you feel so called and compelled to do, you may just find that that purpose you are looking for, it's on the side of doing. It's on the other side of creating. It's on the other side of getting out of your way. And so I was just like, man, if more people just really created, and if more people, less people consumed and were like victims to all the things that other people got going on, and just put more time and energy into the things that bring them more joy, we'll have more happy people in the world. We'll have less depressed people. We will have less anxiety, less worry, all of those things. Because when you create instead of consume, it just feels this void. It feels whatever emptiness you may be feeling in your soul. And so I think that's why it's so important for us to create, even if you aren't creating on a scale to where you're trying to monetize your creation or start a business from it. Creation can be simply as sitting down, drawing something from scratch that you came up with in your head. That one task will give you a sense of fulfillment internally that nothing else can give you by you simply doing that for yourself, because you're showing up for yourself and you're doing something that you want to do for you. And that's what builds confidence. That's what builds your motivation. That's what gives you the light to keep pushing through the darkest time, is just by creating. And so I don't know why I felt compelled to record this video off the whim, but I just want you to start creating. Listen, I got kids in the background now that's trying to tear the door down and to get in here, and you probably heard them in the background, but that did not stop me from pushing record and sharing this message with you, sharing my thoughts with you on this video, because I really want you to see the value in creating. You have gifts, you have talents, you have a voice that, I love you too, buddy. I love you, buddy. You have a voice that people want to hear. You have all the things within that you think that is not valuable, but it's very valuable to you and everybody else who have yet to witness and experience your gifts. So get out your head and just start creating. I really hope this video has inspired you to create something. Leave me a comment below. Let me know, what are you going to create? Because it's time for you to create. It's 2025. It's time out for consuming everything else. You could be a consumer. We're all consumers to some extent, but don't let that take up the majority of your life. Take your time back, take your life back, take control, and start creating, and keep the faith.